How you doing, everybody? Time for the June update. We are on the way right now down to Brandon, South Dakota for Automania 2016. One of my favorite car shows in the region, and basically what they do is they shut the whole town down. The entire mile and a half of Main Street becomes a car show. All makes, all models, everybody's welcome. No judging, no segregation of cars by type or anything. Basically, it's just a really big car meet for a lot of people with a lot of really cool cars. My second year taking the MR2 down there, last year just because it was unique. Now I'm sort of announcing to the region what I'm doing with the One Lap of America project. So we're going to bring you down there, show you how that goes, and then tomorrow, pretty much in the same place, a couple blocks over, we're going to be going to round 2 of the annual Autocross season here in South Dakota. New location for those guys, so it's the first time I'm going to go there with them. We'll see how all that goes, but I got a lot of cool stuff to show you guys this month. Hopefully I'm going to make it as fun for you as I'm having doing all this. So keep on watching. Here we go. Morning.
Hi.
Thank you.
You're all registered?
All registered,
Hang
yeah.
on to that.
Okay.
What we're going to have you do is we self-park the cars. I just sent a Camaro up there on the right side.
Okay.
And what we're going to do on that side, because the road's a little more narrow, is just go front to back, front to back.
Unfortunately, pretty soon after we got there, it started to rain. We got a couple of thunderstorms come through that kind of put a damper on everything. We still had a lot of cool cars sticking around. The main problem was it really put a damper on me getting any kind of interesting footage about things for you. I mean, you got some cool shots of muscle cars, and believe it or not, they had a nice classic 1970s shag wagon complete with the burnt orange and brown carpet, which, not my style, but it was, well, at least the build quality was good on it. This International Harvester ambulance was one of my favorites, but I didn't get very much good footage because of the rain, running back and forth, trying to get tops on and off of the cars and keeping all the family out of the rain. So I apologize for not getting as good on this as I had hoped to. But let's move on to the Autocross now. One of the things I did do for this this month is I put some proper numbers on the car, like you saw earlier. I had a bit of a number mix-up last month, and I just didn't like the way the duct tape looked. But realistically, the Autocross itself, there's a lot of cool cars out there, and a short, not very technical, but a bit more high speed of a track this month, which was really nice to drive at a new location. A lot of cool cars came out for this. Including some real monsters like this Nissan Gtr, which there's a pair of them out there, and these guys were just absolutely crazy on the track. It was fun to watch them, fun to be near them. I didn't get to ride in either of these, but I did get to ride in an R32, which was pretty. And this one here is my 4th run from the day. I've been filming them all, but a lot of the runs I was doing more for a case of review later on to watch my driving performance, watch the car's performance, see how the suspension is driving, how well I'm taking the cones, how far I'm missing them by, things like that. So this is the only one I'm going to show you from this particular viewpoint. Enjoy the run. Here we're looking at the right front tire. So what I'm looking for here is how the suspension is performing, how flat the car is in the turns, how well the brakes are performing, tires, things like that, and also, like I said, how well I'm taking the cones. And these aren't too bad. I could probably get a bit closer, but considering I can't see this corner of the car when I'm driving, I'm not too worried about it. One of the fun things you look for, like right there, is we're locking up the tire, so I still have a little bit of learning to do when it comes to modulating the brakes. Either way, I am going to be using a lot more videos like this for development and trying to find interesting places to stick the camera just so I can watch what I'm doing and watch what the car's doing. Up in this particular stretch, I got up to about 55, 60 miles an hour. Those Nissan Gtrs hit it at almost 100, so not quite playing in my weight here when it comes to a lot of this. Even though they are a few classes higher than me, it's still a case where I am lacking on power. This particular angle helped me a lot more than most of the others. If you watch the tire here on this one, watch how far the tire sticks out from the rim face. This is with stock size tires on the 14-inch rims, and you can barely see any tire at all there, and then it sticks out about an inch. Right now, tires are looking at one of my biggest limitations on the car, one of the first things I'm going to have to address for performance purposes.
Now the other big performance thing I'm going to have to start looking at is dealing with the embarrassingly low amount of power this car has. In the late 80s, it only had 112 horsepower for the non-supercharged version in a US model, which at the time wasn't exactly a high-powered car either. These days, your base model 6-cylinder Charger or Camaro or Mustang, they're putting out almost 300, and that's not even having the actual V8 performance engines in them. So I'm going to start here with this. This will be the base for my major performance upgrade. This is a small port 4AG, which was the early 90s, the last 4AGE sold in the United States. It continued on, of course, in Japan with the silver top and the black top. But I'm going to stick with the small port just for parts commonality here in the States for the ability to support it. Main advantage, of course, with the small port is you're looking at the higher compression ratio. The knock sensor, the better oiling system, things like that, allow to get a bit more power. But I am going to be rebuilding this, doing a turbo build. I'm looking at at a target of about 200 to 250 horsepower when this is all done. I'm going to start puttering along with this during the summer, but mainly this is going to be the winter project. So you're going to see little bits coming up on the engine, but not that much just yet. The other thing, of course, is going to be a case of dealing with tires and rims. I'm probably going to be going with a 15-inch rim and a 205 width tire, just because I think that's going to give me the balance I need for doing the one lap, where I'm going to need to keep a tire set on here for 3,000–4,000 miles of road driving plus track driving. And because the suspension is basically done, we're not going to be doing much. I might do a couple tweaks here and there that I'll show you, not much coming up there. The other big thing, of course, is going to be safety, because if I am going to be taking this thing on track with a lot more power, it's going to be a lot faster. I need to make sure that just in case something bad happens, I'm going to be safe. So first thing that came along with that is, of course, going to be a helmet, which is a requirement for pretty much everything. This is RaceQuip's new SA 2015 rated Pro 15 helmet, which it's not an expensive helmet. It's not full of a lot of fancy features. It's a bit heavy. It doesn't have the best ventilation, but you know, as far as safety standards goes, this is about as current as it gets. So this is going to carry me through for a few years. But at the same time, I am going to be looking at doing seats and harnesses and a roll bar in there. And when it comes to that stuff, sequence is critical, because if you're going to do harnesses, you have to have seats. Anyone who tries to tell you you can run a 5-point harness or a 6-point harness with factory seats, they really don't have any idea what they're doing when it comes to that, because you're going to submarine in an accident and you're going to hurt yourself real bad. At the same time, a 4-point harness, I mean, for autocrossing is one thing, but if you're going to take it on a track, there's a reason most tracks and regulating bodies are not allowing 4-point harnesses anymore. So it's going to be end up in here probably with a 6-point harness, but of course I got to do seats first to make it compatible with that. At the same time, I am going to keep the factory 3-point harness in there, because for street driving that is a lot safer. And then if you're running a harness and you're running a seat and you roll over and you get the hood crushed, you're going to die without rollover protection. So of course a roll bar is going to get integrated in there as well. These are all things that are going to be coming up, not in the near future for this summer, but these are all things to look forward to for future things into the build and where things are going to go, which realistically is going to be expensive to do all this. And right now I'm shopping for a co-driver too, because the person I had originally spoken to hasn't shown that much interest. So that's another thing I got to consider. So a lot of interesting future things to discuss on this one. But realistically, if you guys want to offer any help with this, I've mentioned it before, but please take a look at my page on patreon.com. I'm going to have a link here on the video for you to look at. I don't have enough of a project here to really even consider looking at any sponsorships. But if you guys have been enjoying these videos on Patreon, you can subscribe on a monthly basis just for a small donation, $1, $2 a month. Realistically, I'm not going to be begging too much, but every little bit would help. If you guys have any questions or comments or anything, please let me know. I can incorporate them in future videos. Otherwise, we're going to close up here. We're going to start getting ready for July. Autocross is a little earlier in the month. I don't know really what else I'm going to be doing on it, but I got a few ideas, so we'll have some cool stuff to show you guys coming up. Otherwise, keep watching. If this is your first time catching the video, go back into the early ones, see where we're starting on this, and just have a damn good time driving your cars, guys. That's all it's all about. Thank you very much. Catch you next month.